Hey, this is Bill DeWeese with LongStrangeJourney, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am putting up for sale my Wilderness Systems Radar 135. As far as YouTube goes, this is in the 34683 zip code in Palm Harbor, Florida, but just wanted to have a video so I could answer any questions that come up about the kayak by just handing out a link to the video. So I'm going to walk through this kayak. I've had an amazing time with this kayak. I just spend more time now in the skiff, and I also go into areas that like Chazawiska and other areas that are just a little too far to go kayaking without camping. So that is what we're talking about today, and we're going to go through this in great detail. It has the one Yak Attack Zooka tube for the forward rod holder. It's got 4 back rod holders that are part of the Wilderness Systems Kayak Krate that I'm going to include in the package, and it also has the C-TUG. So you got a rudder system on here that you can pull to set and unset your rudder, and the rudder locks into place when it's stowed, and it is controlled by the rudder joystick. Pull out, bring it up, lock it in, and there's your rudder forward and aft, port and starboard. So this is an overview of the kayak. While I've got it up on the sawhorses, I will go through it because it's a whole lot more convenient than bending down. So what you got up front, we got the handle. These handles can be snapped apart, removed, dealt with if you needed to do any maintenance on them. This is the Radar 135, so it's 13.5. It's the bigger radar, and it has the bigger oval hatch. The Radar 115 has a really tiny hatch. This has a nice large oval hatch to get things in and out of. Everything is working on this. I have a couple hooks here that I send things back in there. If I'm going camping, I'll send things back because things can get out of hand here, but you can always retrieve them. I carry a spare stand-up paddle, board paddle. One thing really great about this kayak is it's really exceptionally stable with the hull. Their smart hull system. Super incredibly stable kayak. It's great for stand-up. I stand up all the time in this and sight fish, and I have a takedown stand-up paddle that I keep inside the hull that I will use because it's a lot easier to have a paddleboard paddle than it is to have a kayak paddle trying to stand up with it. This is very generous. You got pockets all the way down the left and right, but you're going to want to be able to retrieve stuff, so you want to do that. This oval hatch within the first year or so started to fade. I've read different things you can do. I did not like to do anything aggressive. It was not harming anything. I leave it as it is. You could do what you want with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Next, you got the Flex Pod. The Flex Pod is a pod that you can do whatever you want with. You can pack your lunch in here. You can put a little bit of tackle in here. You can put a battery in here, put a grommet in here, put a ram ball on here, and you could mount your fish finder. Especially because it's a bigger fish finder because it's further away from you. You could obviously mount your fish finder on the rail. You can mount your fish finder up here. You can put your lunch in here. You can pop this out, drop in a Helix Torpedo drive system and have a lithium drive. That's an option that you could do. Very versatile kayak. This is for me, it's another glove box, but this is where the pedal drive goes. This comes out, some more components go in place, and this is where your pedal drive would go. And I do not have the pedal drive. I do not pedal the kayak. I paddle, and so I just put stuff in here, right? So this will be scupper plugs. This could be, anything that you would otherwise need on the water for your kayaking. Moving on, you got your foot pedal braces that you can move around to give yourself some good support when you're kicking and using it to give your back a break and your legs and thighs a break. So this is the floor hatch. You can put all kinds of stuff in here. This obviously is where I put my fish ruler. I'll just leave that in there so you guys can have that. And again, I got a little thing that I clip things to so I can send it on back. Wilderness Systems early on for the Radar 135 had some seepage leaks. They did a recall. They sent the owner a brand new hatch and a whole tube of silicone gooby to put and rebead it. I've done all that work. This has had the recall modification. Really, the hatch was fine. They just had voids in the application of the silicone, but they sent you a new hatch and they sent you a tube of silicone. That's all been done for this kayak. No seepage or leaks. You got a nice grommeted O-ring system here that goes all the way around, and if you get water on the floor, you don't get water inside the kayak. Okay, what's next? Okay, so here you've got, I'm a left-handed person. You could move this to the right if you wanted to, but I actually like it on the left. Obviously, this is your rudder control. Typically a rudder would come with your pedal. I did not want to do the pedal on this kayak, but I did want a rudder. The rudder is kind of superfluous to ordinary paddling because this kayak has a really exceptional tracking capabilities. It does not walk left and right as you paddle. But when you're drift fishing, it's almost like an anchor trolley, how you would use an anchor trolley to set your attitude of your boat while you are on anchor. You can also flip that rudder down and you can adjust this and you can control your drift when you're drifting with the wind and the current. So I actually really love for long paddling. It's really nice to have the rudder system. So anyway, and you got your place for a 3700 Plano. This I'll show you is what we use to hold in the Wilderness Systems Kayak Krate, or any crate system you might put back here. And by the way, as I think I've mentioned 100 times, all of the rigging on this kayak has been redone. All of the shock cordage is new UV treated, UV stabilized shock cord, and throughout the kayak, and the starboard and port anchor trolley are all redone with UV stabilized nylon cordage into the system. You have some shock up here with each of these on all four ends has a cheek block type pulley system, which is tied in with 1/4 inch shock cord. So all that is good. Now, some people will have a metal ring here. I'm a stealth nut. I don't like metal clanking on my kayak. So I use a alpine butterfly through here, and I hook my anchor to this. And I actually will do a square knot, but you could also do a rubber coated stainless steel carabiner. Hook it in there, drop your anchor, send it forward, send it aft. You got one on the other side as well, and when you're not using it, there's no clanking. This is super quiet, super stealthy kayak, which is really nice. It has a very low wind profile. When you're in the water, the freeboard is minimal, so you definitely have an advantage on coastal areas where you have wind and wave. I've had this thing in 20 knot winds, making headway with a paddle, which is really awesome. I also have a video of the underneath. Obviously, the underneath of a kayak that has been used in a coastal environment is going to have some rash. There's nothing exceptional about that in this kayak. It hasn't been well treated, and it doesn't have any sustained damage. So here's a relatively close-up view of the underside of the kayak. It has been used in a coastal environment. It has come in contact with oyster beds. It has the typical kayak rash that you would see from that. It has not been abused. But that's what she looks like from the bottom. All right, so we're gonna include in this video the assembly of this beautiful chair. This is the Airpro Max seat. This is by far one of the most comfortable seats. This is one of the key benefits of this kayak, is this Airpro Max seat. I tell you, there's no seat like it. So I've sat in a number of kayaks, and I will tell you, there is just no seat like this thing. This is a fantastic seat with multiple levels of lumbar support and other seat and layers. So you got your gear track, you loosen these up, you got a lockdown system and a screw down system. All I ever use is the screw down system. So you're gonna wanna put that first lead part of that into the track. Then you're going to want to put the second one here on your hand and just push down and slide forward, and now slide both forward and you're good to go. I usually stop so that when it's in its lowest position, I can open the hatch. Now I got really long legs, I'm 6'6", so you could run it further back, but I like to put my camera gear and I like to put my mushroom anchor or my anchor sitting right here. And so you can do whatever you want here. If you're going to stand up and fish a lot, which I do, this is a nice area to put your feet if you push these out of the way. But you can run that further back. You don't want to take it out of the track, but you can run it really further back and give yourself really generous leg support, and go from there. So I bring it right here. Good to go. I'm just going to screw these down. You can then get more aggressive in how much locking down you do. So all in all, there's 3 spare items, extra items, non-standard items that I'm going to include in the sale of this kayak as a bundle. One of them will be a forward rod holder. This is a Yak Attack Zooka Tube rod holder. Put that where you would want it in your kayak. Tighten it down. You have a spinning rod style holder, or you flip it up and you've got a bait caster. So that's what's going to be your forward rod holder. You got 4 rod system holders here. You can add rod holders. Realistically, I just use this, and this is the Wilderness Systems Kayak Krate. So you got a storage system in the back. You got some soft plastic bags. There might be another one of these here somewhere. I'll look for it. And then you've got a quick access one for rigging and lure, leader material, and that leaves you room here in the back for anything that you want to put in the trunk. Obviously, you can take this out and you can put the whole trunk in there if you want something bigger. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to grab, and I pinched that in there, so that's a pain in the butt. Let's loosen that up a bit. There we go. So I'm going to deploy the rudder with the deploy cable. I'll tighten that up so it doesn't. So the third item here. So we got the kayak, comes with a seat, comes with, I'm throwing in the Yak Attack Zooka Tube. I'm going to include the Wilderness Systems Kayak Krate, and then I'm going to include the C-TUG cart that comes with it, right? This is like $100 value. This is $150 value. These are on the order of 30-40 bucks a piece. So this is your basic system, and I think I have an older paddle that's a decent paddle I can include. That way this whole system is turnkey and ready to go. So you just grab it and you just walk wherever you want it to go, and you're good to go, because that C-TUG fits really well with this kayak. So there you go. That's the system as is. Wilderness Systems Radar 135. A great pedal kayak, I understand, but it does so without compromising the fact that it's an excellent paddle kayak, which was my interest. And you see it set up here, good to go. And I can't include this video in the ad. I don't think Facebook will let me do that, but I can include it in any direct messages that you ask information for the kayak. There you go.